What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to Tour Junkies After Dark. We are the Tour Junkies. It is After Dark. We've just recorded our own podcast and all kind of stuff. We did a lot. We had a lot of crazy stuff going on. Pat lost a bet last week, so he had to suck down a Colt 45 during the show.
Colt 45.
So he is Colt 45 lit tonight for TJ After Dark. It was a great week for the Tour Junkies. If you didn't tail it, I don't know what you're doing. We both wrote up Matt Jones as the winner last week for the Honda Classic at 70-1. Both of us had him on the betting card. I don't know what you're doing. We talked about him on the DraftKings show. Come on, get with it. That's like 4 or 5 winners in 2021 alone. And we ain't picking the short numbers either. Let's get with it, people. Let's get with it. Let's keep the train rolling. We got 2 tournaments this week, 2 chances to hit an outright bet. A big one at that. We're going to talk about it. You got the WGC Dell Match play from Austin Country Club in Austin, Texas. You got the Corrales PUNTACANA in the Dominican Republic. You know, WGC Match play versus an alternate field event. There's a lot of stuff on DraftKings you could take advantage of. We're going to talk about the Sportsbook tonight. Listen, when it comes to the match play, here's what you need to know. Number 1, it starts on Wednesday. So I don't know when you're watching this on
That's
YouTube.
number 1 for sure. Don't forget that.
Starts on Wednesday. First of all, wherever you're watching this, give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. Subscribe here to the DraftKings channel. Number 1, do that. Also, comment on what Pat or me, should we lose another prop bet, have to drink on our own podcast if we lose the bet. Colt 45 I thought wasn't very good.
I say Colt 45.
Pat apparently liked it. Yeah, Pat kind of liked it. So if you lose,
we don't know what DB won't like. That's true. I think you're the one that's more interesting than me because I pretty much will try anything.
I mean,
on the other hand,
you liked it. You liked the Colt. You took it down.
I mean, I thought the Colt 45 was good. I mean, it's not going to be in the rotation, but it was still pretty good.
Okay, so put in the comments what you think we should drink. WGC Match Play starts on Wednesday. 64 players. You got brackets. It's all kind of fun stuff, right? Here's what you need to know. Austin Country Club is a Pete Dye design. Pete Dye players tend to like Pete Dye designs. We just saw Pete Dye at TPC Sawgrass. We see Pete Dye at Harbor Town, for example, a bunch of other courses. Second shot course, you don't have to be a bomber. Bombers can win for sure. You don't have to be, though. Okay, you're defending champ, not a bomber. One of the shortest players on the PGA Tour, Kevin Kisner, was 2019 winner. This was not played last year. We hit Kevin Kisner that year at 80-1, 70-1, 80-1.
By the way, DB means short off the tee, not short in stature. Even though he is short in stature,
yes,
it doesn't mean that if you're short in stature that you can't win. Yeah.
But, you know, Kisner was kind of the long shot that's won in the last few years here at Austin Country Club. There's been a lot of shorter winners here. DJ, Jason Day, Bubba Watson, a lot of shorter names here have won, shorter in the odds market here at WGC Match Play. So you need to pay attention to that first of all. Obviously, you got group play. You got to get out of group play, round robin format. They play everybody in their group. Let's get with it, Pat. Let's talk about the odds. Let's talk about Sportsbook odds for the WGC Match Play. So just tell me where you're starting, where you're looking, because, you know, we're not going to give you the short mamby-pamby numbers, right? Like, we could give you the John Rahms and the DJs and we're not going to do that, okay? We're just not. We're going to get a little deeper, step out there a little bit. This is golf. So, Pat, where are you starting it?
Well, I will say this. I do think that when you're looking at a tournament like this, match play, only 4 players in the field, I do think the shorter odds guys obviously have a better chance to win, and so that is where the smart money needs to go. But if I'm going to start here, I'm starting with 28-1, and that is Victor Hovland. I love Victor Hovland at 28-1. He is a guy that is a great ball striker, great approach player. He can putt the lights out of the ball. Now he's not a great scrambler, but I don't think that's going to matter as much on this. He is improving, and I do think. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't matter on this course because it does. but I think he is going to be great on approach. He's going to give himself a ton of birdie opportunities. He's a good match play guy. I like Victor Hovland at 28-1, and I think that is a great number for him. So he is where I'm going to be starting a ton of my bets. And then the next guy in the same range is Patrick Reed at 28-1 also. If you look at where he is in the brackets, as far not just the group, but in the brackets, it's in one of those that anybody really, I think, can come out of that area. So I like Patrick Reed there at 28-1. So those are the two guys on the shorter end that I think have great numbers. I mean, Patrick Reed at 28-1 in a field like this, having won this year, that's pretty good. So that's where I'm going to start.
I mean, this is a strong field, but you mean in a format like this, you get
a format like this,
the match play god.
Yeah, and the field and everything else. I mean, you're getting them at 28-1. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't hate either one of those. I really like the Hovland play. I mean, Hovland's got a really easy group, in my opinion. When you look at the 4 players he's in a group with, this looks like one of the weaker from top to bottom out of all the groups. So I think just getting to the round of 16 will be easier for Victor Hovland than a lot of other players in this field, even players more talented. But so I do like that number. All right, so I'll move up a little bit. I like Cam Smith at 35-1. He's playing with Rory, who we know is not playing well, who's been vocal about how kind of lost he is. Lonto Griffin and Ian Poulter. Ian Poulter, obviously a match play veteran and very good in match play. Lonto Griffin I like as well. Good young player playing well. But I like the Aussie Cam Smith. Showed up at the President's Cup. Did his thing as best he could. He's played really well on Pete Dye courses. We just saw him play TPC Sawgrass, finished 17th, finished 11th, I think, at the last WGC. Good scrambler, good ball striker. I think Cam Smith's a good number at 35-1. Then if I'm going to jump up a little bit, I like Jason Day, your two-time champ, not defending champ, two-time champ here, won in 2018. He is playing in a group with Xander, Scotty Scheffler, and Andy Sullivan. He's 50-1. I think that's a mighty large number for Jason Day, two-time winner, who is also in good form. Like he's flashing some form. I like the number with Jason Day at 50-1. I think that's sexy. And then finally, I guess in the mid-range, and then we'll move to the bombs later. I like Jason Kokrak. I like the value that Kokrak gives me at 70-1. I don't love the group he's in. He's playing with Finau, Will Zalatoris, and Dylan Fratelli. I think Finau and Zalatoris are talented. I think this is a tough group to pick on a bracket. But when I'm looking at value on the sports book, the 70-1 number for Kokrak, recent PGA Tour winner in the fall, playing really well, striking the ball well, motivated to play, in this match play event, WGC event. I like the value that Kokrak gives you at 70-1.
Yeah, I don't mind that. If we're talking, if we're talking 70-1 though, I'm a fan. Now I know that, actually, let me go back. So let me go back to that Jason Day group. I actually like Scotty Scheffler out of that group at 45-1. I think he can come out of that group and win this tournament. So if he does that, that's good. But here's another guy that I like. At 70-1, Ryan Palmer, the same bracket there as that Jason Day group, which I think if he can beat Jon Rahm and come out of that group, I think Ryan Palmer has a great shot to get to the Final Four, because that whole section of the bracket is relatively weak when you think about the fact that Rory McIlroy's there and he hasn't been playing all that great. Daniel Berger has been hurt. Xander's one of the top plays there, and he's been okay. So I think Ryan Palmer at 71 has some pretty good odds there as well. Also like Kiz at 70-1, a guy that we've seen. Like, look, if he can finish second here in 2018, win it in 2019, he's, again, we're like 2020, COVID won this tournament in 2020. So if we get here to 2021, I think Kiz can win it again. I like him at 70-1. And then Billy Horschel at 90-1 is my longest shot this week. And he's another guy that's in a great bracket as far as I think he can win out of that bracket. And then he doesn't have like that incredibly, like the players in his section aren't like, unbeatable for Billy Horschel.
Yeah, I think that's a tough group, though. I think Morikawa and Homa are a tough group. I think they're going to be a tough out. I don't like the way Billy's irons are going, and I'll take Max Homa at the same price at 90-1 on DraftKings to come out of that group and win. Homa finally got a break. He finally got a week off, taking the Honda off, as a lot of these players did, so he gets to rest up a little bit after playing 7, 8 in a row, I think it was. But the driver's been great. The irons have been great. The confidence is at an all-time high for Max Homa, and I love that value at 90-1. Give it to me. I guess I got 2 quick long shots I'll give you. You mentioned Ryan Palmer in that group with John Rahm and the kind of weaker bracket. I think Shane Lowry, for the value, Ryan Palmer 70-1, Shane Lowry 125-1. I don't know that those numbers jive to me. I mean, I like Ryan Palmer too, but Shane Lowry, you're defending Open champion. He's got some Ryder Cup experience, I believe. 125-1 is just a good number. He's been playing well, good all-around game. If somebody can knock out John Rahm in that group, I think they can advance to the quarterfinals at least. With the Berger and English group kind of being injury-ridden, I think that could happen. And then finally, your 2018 winner, Bubba Watson, at 125-1. He's a former winner here. We know Bubba plays well at courses that he, jives with. He's a fiery competitor. I think he likes match play more than anything. I think he stays engaged. We know he loves match play, just strives to be on Ryder Cup teams, wants to prove himself here as well. So I think Bubba's an interesting number at 125-1. That's just a lot. That's just a lot of value for him. So there you go. That is the WGC Dell Match Play Sportsbook look. Now let's talk about Corrales, Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. This event was just held in September. Hudson Swafford won. And by the way, Pat Perry right there, that guy right there, had Hudson Swafford written up as your first round leader at 100-1 that week. Well, guess what? He hit at 100-1. And then yours truly had him written up on my betting card on tourjunkies.com at 150-1 to win. And guess what? He won. So Corrales, Punta Cana, big week for us. We got some special vibes cooking up with Punta Cana. I'm excited about it. It's an alternate field event, but you know what? There's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of hungry guys. Still a PGA Tour event. You got some Korn Ferry guys playing in here. You got some scrubs. You got some veterans on the PGA Tour playing in here. It's going to be an interesting event. It's a coastal course. It's a scoring fest. You got to be on the lookout for wind. You got to hit some greens. You got to putt well on these Paspalum green surfaces that we hear are running pretty pure. So that's what it is. Let's get to it. Pat, why don't you talk to me about the shorter end of the sportsbook range? Tell me where you're starting it off.
Well, for me, I think you don't need to go too short here because this event is one of those where I definitely think you're going to get a longer odds guy that is going to end up winning. But I do like Charlie Hoffman at 18-1. Where's Charlie Hoffman? Where the hell is Charlie Hoffman? He's 18-1. 18-1, Charlie Hoffman. We've seen him play very well recently. Look, he is number one in this field in strokes gained approach, number one in this field in opportunities gained, which means he's converting some birdies. And I like that for Charlie Hoffman at 18-1. So if you're going to play a shorter odds guy, he, to me, is the best value there outside of all these other ones that are up there in that same range. And then I like Johnny Vegas at 30-1, a guy that we just saw on Paspalum as well in Puerto Rico that finished, second or third. He probably should have won, made a few mistakes down the stretch there. So I like Johnny Vegas at 30-1. Outside of that, on the shorter end, those are my favorite guys. I think there's a couple that you like here that I'll save for you, and then I'll go to some of the longer odds guys.
I like Nate Lashley at 35-1. Flashing a little bit of form, finishing top 40 or so last week at the Honda, which is good enough for me for Nate Lashley. Won here in 2017 when it was a Korn Ferry Tour event. Finished fourth in 2021 in the fall. So I like the Nate Lashley number at 35-1. I'll take that. PGA Tour winner and Korn Ferry Tour winner as well. So, at least if he gets there, he can close the door. And then I guess I'll work up to Chase Seifert at 50-1. Finished third at the Honda just this past week. Finished 15th, I think, in another event previous to that. Finished 12th at the Amex earlier this fall or earlier this season in 2021. Gained 8 strokes on approach last week at PGA National, which is tough to do. That's a tough golf course. So obviously he's striking it well. He's confident. 50-1 for a confident Chase Seifert, I'll take. Will Gordon at 55-1. He's a player that I think is coming into it a little bit. I think we tried to rush it with Will Gordon back in the fall. We ended up betting him a lot, playing him a lot on DraftKings. It didn't work out, but he's coming around. He's been a little more consistent. Good to see him playing well on tougher courses where you have to leave the driver in the bag on a few holes, which is good to see because he's one of the longest hitters on tour. He scores a lot in a birdie fest. I like it. So Will Gordon at 55-1 is interesting. So that's kind of the mid-tier range for me.
Well, I will close out the mid-tier range with Tyler McCumber at 50-1. I like him. He finished second here last year. We've seen him play extremely well on the big tour this year. He makes a ton of birdies, is a very aggressive player, so I like Tyler McCumber. Also in that same range, I like Steven Yeager at 55-1. He finished fourth last week on the Korn Ferry Tour, but had a great season last year also on the Korn Ferry Tour, but he also has a lot of experience on the PGA Tour as well. So at 55-1, I like that number on him as well. And then at 70-1, Peter Uihlein is another guy that I think is very interesting. Had a good finish last week. Had a couple of years where he had a stint on tour where he finished okay, and never was able to keep his card. But I think he's coming back around. So yeah, like some Peter Uihlein.
At 90-1, I'm going to go with Camilo Villegas, who we just saw finish 8th at the Honda to keep conditional status on the PGA Tour, but he needs to keep bringing it, or he's working on a major medical exemption on the PGA Tour. Give me an inspired PGA Tour veteran who can play some coastal courses. They finished 6th at the RSM Classic back in November, which is a coastal course down there in Sea Island, Georgia. He's got top 5 upside, top 10 upside, and I think that can lead him to a win in a field like this. So, motivated, working on that major medical. I think I'll take Camilo Villegas at 90-1. Finally, it's a bomb, but at 125-1, I can get a PGA Tour winner and a guy who just this past Sunday found himself in the final group at the Honda Classic, J.B. Holmes. Now, he shoot 50 million on Sunday and piss everybody off and play super slow and do everything possible to get Matt Jones out of his groove? Yes, he did. But that's one round. He found himself in the final group on Sunday. Now he's at an event, it's a birdie fest. He can take advantage. He can hit it a long way. He can use his length. We know JB Holmes can get hot and go on major birdie runs and go low. I mean, for a guy of his caliber and his career, when you look at it from longevity on the PGA Tour, 125-1 feels like quite the value. So I think JB Holmes at 125-1 is as long as I'm willing to get on this whole Corrales Punta Cana.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a sneaky 125-1 player, and that is Satoshi Kodaira at 125-1. Also a guy we have seen play relatively well recently. He is top 20 in the field in approach and opportunities gained. So I like some Satoshi Kodaira at 125-1, and he's played, relatively well recently. Made his last few cuts. I think this is a good course for him. So there you go.
There you go. That's it. We had to cover 2 quickly tonight. So, not a lot of debate, not a lot of stuff going on. If you want to hear any of that, you can check out the Tour Junkies YouTube channel. But, trying to cram it in here because we got 2 great events. Remember, WGC starts on Wednesday, Corrales Punta Cana on Thursday. Plenty of action to be had on DraftKings Sportsbook and DraftKings in terms of DFS. Tons of great contests going on over there. Tons of golf this week. I'm excited. The Masters is coming just a couple weeks away from the Masters in our hometown right here in Augusta, Georgia. So, get ready. Build up your dollars for the Masters. It's going to be good stuff on DraftKings. I'm pumped. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a subscribe. We are the Tour Junkies. This is TJ After Dark. We'll see you next week. See ya.
Out.